Good morning and happy Monday. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Chump Change. This is live and recorded. For anybody that might be new here, we typically do is go over crypto news or news in general in the space, update myself, bring you guys along for the ride. Let's see who's here in the house, and then we'll get into this. Mr. Crypto for Seniors, good to see you, buddy. We have Steven Cicero, Mad Electron, what's up, dude? Good to see you. 360 Mining, what's up, man? Love that name. Chris Hanley, good to see you. Much Train, Nick K, Triple D, what's up, bro? Good to see you. 100 Air, Dumpster Fire, Peepaw Bill, Carl Coat. If I said that already, I apologize, but anybody else that may have missed, I apologize. Let's do it. All right, Bitcoin, $57,161. What is going on right now? This is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Leave for like a week and you guys crash the market. It's unacceptable. Rude Puts, what's up, buddy? Black Hat Team, good to see you. Ethereum's looking like a $3,047 Ethereum. We have Solana, $140, XRP 44 cents, ADA 37 cents, Litecoin at $65. I bought $800 of Litecoin 3 days ago, maybe 4 days ago, when it was at $60, and that's a Hadouken for me because I was gonna put it into Caspa, but Caspa dumped and Litecoin went up, so I'm happy I did that. It actually worked out perfectly. All right, let's see. Celestia looks like the only one that's really deep green right now, almost $6, $12.68% up on the day. Pretty crazy. All the meme coins kind of doing crappy. Everything's really just in a downtrend. Insane. Let's see, we had to give you something to talk about. Welcome back, Crypto KJ, good to see you. What's up, Dan R? Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. All right, let's jump over to Crypto Bubbles, see what we got over here. Biggest earner of the day, again, Celestia. It says 13.4% up on the day over here. Again, almost $6. It's $5.97, I guess, depending on where you look at. It's probably just about $6. Starknet, if anybody's into this, is up to 59 cents, almost 60 cents, up 6.7%. We got Bonk up 8% on the day. We have Not up 7.5% to almost 2 pennies, maybe. I guess a little over a penny and a half in between that and 2 pennies. Let's see. We got Shiba up 3.2% today. Nice. I guess that could be worse. Still ranked 13th. Shiba's been holding that top 20 ranking. It blows my mind how it's still there. It really does blows my mind. We have Link up 5.2% now, $13.38. This is Chainlink, if anybody doesn't know. ADA, I feel like it's been a steal the last couple days. This thing went stupid low. What was the low? 33 cents. Man, I wish I bought into this a little bit. Actually, I might convert some Litecoin into ADA today, to be honest, because we're well below the 80% down on this this coin here, and I think this is just an easy little money maker when the market starts to pop off. We're ranked 10th as of right now on on Crypto Bubbles, rather. I guess we'll have to check over on CoinGecko in a second. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask in the chat. Nothing else really jumping out at me. I mean, WIF is down 5.3%. We have Quant down 4%. Yeah, nothing else really jumping out. Injective 4.3% up on the day, $20. Not too bad. Not too bad. Ton's down 4.2. All right, let's do Flashbang. Fear and Greed Index. Jeez. Bruh. Looking at a 28 over here. Look at the fear. Yesterday 29. Now it's at 28. This is crazy. This is crazy. But guys, it is time to buy. This is a fire sale. Not financial advice, but when there's blood in the streets, that's when you want to get crypto. Just saying. It's the best way to make money. I mean, realistically, I know it's scary to buy coins because, yeah, you could go down a little bit more, but overall, you're in a pretty good place to purchase right now. That's just my opinion, my personal opinion. Take that as you will. All right, trending coins. Oh shit, Hadouken to Octaspace. Anybody mining Octaspace? Perfect. $2.05. What in the hell? Is that a new all-time high? That is definitely. Oh, it's close. I lied. 2 months ago it hit 219. Wow, I didn't know it hit 219. Holy shit, I got a bag of Octaspace. Hell yeah, that's sick. $2.07. If you guys don't know, this is an ETH hash coin, and you guys can mine this on your Jazz miners. Your Jazz miners, your little mini iPolo miners, depending on the DAG size. But yeah, you guys can mine. That's crazy. That's awesome. I'm happy that that's actually popping off. Pepe is actually down 2.1%, and Solana is up 0.9%. Almost 1%. 140 bucks. All right, top 10 coins by coin market cap over here on CoinGecko. We get Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, Solana, USDC, Lido Staked Ether, XRP, Toncoin, and Dogecoin. It says is in 10th place at a $15.7 billion market cap. Cardano is in 11th place at a 13.3. Cardano definitely has some catching up to do, but man, the recent dips are definitely times to buy, at least in my opinion. Let's see, Shiba, it says it's actually in 14th place over here. I think, what was it, Crypto Bubbles that said 13th? Where was it? Right here? Yeah, it says ranked 13th. Interesting. You know, I wonder if they don't count some of the stable coins or one of the stable coins, because if the stable coins realistically weren't here, you know, USDC or USDT, I know it's by market cap, so it makes sense, but realistically it's not like a project, I guess. If those weren't there, then yeah, obviously the bottom two, I say Cardano and Tron, would jump into 10th place, but or the top 10 rather, but yeah, nonetheless. Litecoin, $65. Again, I think it's a fire sale on Litecoin, to be honest. We're down over 80%, 84.1 to be exact, about 3 years ago. You guys know how I feel about this. Anything that's like 80% down, I think has a real good chance to at least 2, 3, 4x your money. That's just my opinion. I mean, take it as you will. 2017 bull run, 360 bucks. The 2021 bull run, actually this got to 410 bucks. And yeah, we're at $65. Litecoin is an OG. I don't think it's going anywhere, to be honest. I really don't think it's going anywhere. Same thing with Cardano though. I don't think that's going to go anywhere either. And yeah, I don't know. We're just gonna have to see where this one goes, but we're definitely down well over 80%, 87.8% to be exact. 2017 we were just over $1. 2021 we got over $3, and now we're at 37 cents. I don't know. Again, you guys do what you want. I'm doing what I want, and that's investing into it a little bit, right? I have a little bag of Cardano, not too much. ETC, this is a coin that I'm hoping goes somewhere. It's at $20 right now. I think this is stupid cheap, to be honest. I think just the narrative alone with Ethereum, once Ethereum ETFs happen and that starts popping off, I think Ethereum Classic will see some movement. That's just my opinion, just on the name alone. Again, Timmy doesn't know the difference between Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. I sure didn't when I started, so is what it is. I mean, I guess Ethereum Classic is technically the original chain, and it is the OG Ethereum, but you guys know things went two separate ways there. If you don't, there's plenty of videos out there about it. But yeah, nonetheless, I think it's going to do pretty well. We're looking at 87% down on this one as well. 167 all-time high, kind of crazy. If you look at the max chart, same thing. 2017, I mean, it was like 30-40 bucks, right? And then 2021, again, it got up to the 160 whatever, $167 mark. I don't know, just gonna be easy money if it does hold up. And I mean, you guys can kind of see the lower, like the lows, the lowest of lows over here is progressively higher, I guess, than previously, right? So I think it's gonna go in the proper direction, at least, that we want. Yeah, nothing else really jumping out at me. I mean, Caspa's been doing pretty good. I guess the KRC20 tokens have launched, so that is I guess we're gonna see what happens there. I'm sure a lot of the steam from Caspa is going into those tokens, like meme coins and such. I don't know of any personally, but that's just my guess. But I think if those coins continue to pop off, the fees alone will help drive this coin up. I think I'm going to just stay with Caspa. I don't think I'm going to jump into any of the KRC20 tokens personally, but 16.5 cents still looking pretty strong, to be honest. We're building, it looks like another stepping stone, right? It seems to be every 3 months we have like a nice pump up with Caspa. So we'll see what happens here. I guess we're still on an upwards channel too, so that's kind of cool looking at this chart anyways. All right, let's move on to the mining segment of things, see what we're looking like over here. You guys know I like to timestamp this stuff. Look at this, they got another ad down here. Interesting. All right, so we got the Bitmain Antminer KS5 Pro 21 terahash unit making $67.40 a day. Bruh. That's actually kind of terrible. Did I hear the network hash rate doubled on Caspa, or am I wrong? Let me know in the chat, actually, because I'm not entirely positive. I feel like I heard that yesterday, though. The KS5 20 terahash unit making $64.19 a day. We got the Antminer DR7 127 terahash unit mining Sia coin. If anybody cares about Sia coin, $47.60. I mean, hey, listen, if you can make money on it, it's sick. But how much is this unit going for? Probably a buttload, and it's probably not worth it. But I guess, hey, who knows? I used to have a KS5M 15 terahash unit making under $50 a day, 45.38. It's kind of terrible. KS5L 12 terahash unit making 34.67. Again, these are Caspa miners after 10 cents per kilowatt hour. We have the IB-Link BMKS Max and the Dragon Ball miner KS6 11 terahash unit making 29.32. The Wind miner K9 10.3 terahash unit making 28.84. We got the KS3 from Ice River 8 terahash unit making $20.87. The Antminer L9, I can't wait to see this thing, to be honest. Perfect. 16 gigahash unit making $16.57 a day. That seems pretty low though. That seems pretty low. I'm kind of nervous about my L9. I mean my L7. I'm nervous about my L7 looking at the price of L9s. We get the AL box, Old Shell AL box, 360 gigahashes, 180 watts, only making $14.40 a day. Bruh. Damn, this thing got cut in half hard. Let's see what the lithium's looking like, because I don't know. I haven't looked in a while. Dude, I've been so disconnected from crypto as a whole. What the hell? Am I? There we go. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Oh, Jesus. Bruh. That's terrible. $1.11. Dude, the lithium is slowly falling off a cliff. It is just tumbling down this hill. Is there anything that's going to stop it? Anything that's going to stop it? Because this is bad. That's bad news, man. If that bigger ASIC comes out, I forget how big it was. Wasn't it like insane? I feel like it was 8 terahashes or something stupid. I can't remember. I really can't remember. But if that ASIC comes out, this project is toast. This project's toast. Oh, what's up, buddy? Good morning, Mr. Geek of All Trades. Thanks for stopping by. That's crazy though. This is really taking a hit, but you know what, guys? Like, this is going to be profitable for quite some time. 180 watts. I mean, you can't really go wrong, to be honest. Just the price is a bit high, right? I would want to pay way less than that. Maybe, I don't know. It says $4,000 here. I might consider it like $1,500. I might consider it. Even that's still kind of a lot. All right, moving on. KS3M 6 terahash unit making $13.26 a day. We got the Antminer L7 9050. You guys know I got this thing down at Terra Hosting, paying 9.5 cents per kilowatt hour. This is merge mining Litecoin and Doge. $6.11 per day. Bruh. It's kind of terrible, but at least I'm in the green. It's not bad. The S19K, I don't even want to look at it, because I got that down at Terra Hosting as well. I don't want to even look at it. It's probably super unprofitable right now, but let's continue with the KS2 2 terahash unit making $4.26 a day. The KS1 1 terahash unit making $2.13 a day. I'm gonna scroll down to the KS0 Ultra 400 gigahashes. Actually, there was a firmware update, I believe, for this thing. Has anybody actually put that on their KS0 Ultra? Please let me know. I'm wondering what this thing gets for hash rate now. But mine's getting like, it gets between 400 and 460, which is kind of crazy. But $1.18 a day at 100 watts this thing is pulling. Mine's like 105 watts, to be honest, but not too bad. This unit I think was a steal. That's just my opinion. I think it was worth the money. Great beginner miner, regardless of the hash rate and all that BS going up. It's just I think it's a good miner, to be honest. The Ice River Caspa KS0 Pro 200 gigahash unit making 47 cents a day. Again, after 10 cents per kilowatt hour. You guys know I got these in the solar trailer. Actually, I got to get these back on today. I did shut off the other inverter for like a couple days actually while I was doing the solar pergola situation. Dan R says the feedback I give you on your solar pergola install is for I would have done some concrete rather than leave it grass under the gazebo. Yeah, but I don't want it to be a permanent structure. I go over that actually. I just dropped a video for members only yesterday night, so I'll be publicly posting it tomorrow during the day. So members want to go watch that, feel free. Is a whole stock list of everything that I did on that pergola, and yeah, the reasoning behind that. I want it to be a temporary structure, not a permanent structure. We got the Ice River Caspa KS0. I said original. Did I say this one? I didn't say this one yet. This is the original KS0, 100 gigahashes, 65 watts, 20 cents a day. Bruh. Yeah, that's pretty terrible. All right, let's scroll down a little bit. Let's see. Where's my S19K Pro? The S19K Pro 120 terahash unit mining Bitcoin Cash, I'm losing 31 cents a day.
Bruh.
That's terrible. That is terrible.
Fuck, dude, spit on that thing.
All right, let's get into it and see how much worse is Bitcoin. How much worse is Bitcoin? Oh God. Oh God. That's quite a bit worse. That is quite a bit worse, huh? Holy shit. Yeah, I don't think I'd be making out at all. I'd be losing like 70 cents. Just about 70 cents or so. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, let's move on to GPUs. See what we're looking like over here. GPUs, what is the most profitable coin to mine? We have Gram, Ironfish, and USAT. If I'm not mistaken, that is HTN. We have that's on the 4090 actually. The 4080 Super, same thing. Gram, Ironfish, and Gram. Dual mining that. 4070 Ti, Gram, Ironfish, and Gram, same thing. Seems like that's the consensus across the 40 series cards. You get the 3080 12 gigabyte Conflux and Husat. We have Zealous. How's Zealous doing actually? I was mining that for a little while. Let's see. We have, what are we looking like? $13.21. I forget what, I think this is at like 20 bucks or so. It was around 20 bucks when I was mining it, or 18 or something. Sorry, my kid is right here. Give me a second. Oh boy. Sorry, daddy duty calls. All right. Let's see. Conflux seems to be top of the charts. The 3070 Conflux and Husat as well. Xano over here also. Interesting. Dynex on the 2070. How's Dynex doing actually? Dynex, I haven't seen that in a while. Dynex, let's see. Man, 57 cents. Everything is just taking a ish, you know. It's terrible. Where did you get the KS0 Ultra? I got it from Ice River 100 Air. It was a sponsored unit. They sent it over to me for review. Full transparency. But yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. If I didn't buy a bunch of KS0 Pros, I totally would have bought the Ultras. But I still got the Pros. I'm still rocking those. So I think the Ultra is definitely a good buy for like 200 bucks. Why not? But that's only if you have the extra money laying around, right? It's everybody's situation is different. Yeah, so that seems to be the consensus all the way down here. Let's check out CPUs. Looks like Zephyrus back on the top of the charts over here for CPU mining. Pretty much everything. Some nice hack stuff over here. Not a fan of them. Let's see. Let's check out Zephyr. See what Zephyr's looking like price wise. Zeph up 0.11%, $3.76. Is that good? Is that good? I still can't believe this got up to $50. This project fell off a cliff hard. That's crazy. Jeez. Bruh. That's terrible. What's up, Crypto Kurt? Good to see you, buddy. All right, let's see what we got over here for new coins. See if there's any. Keymaker, Minotaur X, and Curve Hash. What the hell is that? What are those algos? I don't even know what those are. I have no idea what those algos are. Anon Pay, interesting. Josh Network, man, there's a few new ones. All right, guys, listen, if you're gonna look into these, please just be careful. I am so done with new coins lately. I'm not even gonna get into them. Looking over here, 94 days from now, we have the FEC Fearite, I guess, going from 100 to 50 tokens, and then Bitcoin Diamond 97 days from now, 62.5 to 31.25. Let's see, we need a chump coin. Dude, there is one. There is a chump change coin. Somebody made one. It's just funny. Pretty sure. Let me see. It's a Solana coin. There it is. This is the coin, the chump change coin. I have no affiliation with them. I have none. No affiliation, but I did buy some. I bought some and I lost money on it for sure. It's definitely way lower than where I bought it at, but it's funny. It's like a monkey. I don't know. It's hysterical. Whatever. Each his own. Sorry, I'm listening for my kids because I'm on daddy duty today. Both the kids are sick. All right, let's move on to the news of the day. Still some downside to Bitcoin within a long-term uptrend. Let's see what they got to say over here on CNBC television. Guys, hit that like button. Appreciate you for hanging out. Let's do it.
Let's take a look at Bitcoin. The cryptocurrency fell under 55,000 for the first time since February after Mt. Gox said it began making repayments about a decade after it collapsed into bankruptcy. Joining us now is Katie Stockton, Fairlead Strategies founder and managing partner, also a CNBC and NBC Pro contributor. I don't think we've ever started with Bitcoin, when we have
not recently, at least.
But I don't think it's necessarily starting with the tail in the dog. I mean, there are times when Bitcoin can actually be an indicator of what to expect in the NASDAQ or just the risk-on trade.
Yeah. Correlations have been pretty high, too, recently with the NASDAQ 100 and Bitcoin. And then you start to think about them all as these risk assets, right, more broadly. But, of course, the NASDAQ just keeps going and going and going, and Bitcoin has broken some support. So the 60,000 level is what we were watching. And it's not a major support level, but it resolves a trading range to the downside that suggests that we'll see more corrective price action. Next support for Bitcoin is roughly 51,500. So still some downside from here, but still within a
51,000. Who's buying if we go back there? You guys think we're going to see 51,000 again? It'd be kind of crazy if we did, actually. Geek of All Trades says we are 2 months into a 4-year Bitcoin cycle. Just hodl on. And I agree, sir.
A long-term uptrend. We're big believers of just having a small percentage of a portfolio in Bitcoin, almost regardless of the price action. We still want the long-term trend on our side, but almost as a call option.
That was actually the best way for her to put that. The long-term trend. She wants that on her side. That's the way you guys got to look at it. You can't look at it as in like, crap, I just bought $500 of Bitcoin and it went down, a couple grand and I lost a couple $100 or a couple dollars rather. Listen, it's a long-term game. Bitcoin is not a get-rich-quick scheme anymore. It's just not. That's just how it is.
To take advantage of the upside long-term.
You think 51 doesn't hold? You think the 40s is,
Well, that would suggest there's something structural sort of amiss for Bitcoin from a technical perspective. It would jeopardize that long-term uptrend to some degree. We would expect that we see oversold conditions return close to that level, though.
So the S&P and the NASDAQ are so NVIDIA heavy.
It's really wild.
Is that not troubling yet? It's still not troubling?
NVIDIA has consolidated recently.
Yeah, and yet now,
go ahead, look at Apple, look at Meta, look at Tesla last week. These are short-term breakouts, and they've driven a short-term breakout from what we call a flag pattern. Flag patterns do show positive short-term momentum. The hard part is, of course, it suggests that we're still going to see more of this narrow leadership. It's not especially narrow breadth, it's the leadership. So you're not getting outperformance anywhere else outside of these mega caps, really.
Why aren't any of these underlying things troubling for the bull, the state of the bull?
I've stopped relying on negative divergences to get bearish because they do resolve ultimately, and they would show maybe a less healthy tape, but that doesn't mean it can't sustain an uptrend. Our thought is that for the second half of this year, we'll see more volatility. The uptrend will maintain itself, but we'll see more corrective phases. And ideally, we'll see that breadth kick in. Some of the cyclical sectors will finally show some relative performance.
Do you factor in money on the sidelines for your work? Or
just more anecdotally. We don't measure it ourselves. We have conversations, of course, with our clients about it. We sense that there is still that, right? So we have people that want to put money to work, but the frustrations are running very, very high with the narrow, concentrated leadership. So people don't know what to do with that. I feel like there's a lot of opportunities out there. The overbought conditions are not that widespread considering how the major indices look. So you can look farther than the large cap technology sector and find some really interesting technical setups, even in now the commodity related stocks, which have had a pretty good phase of underperformance of late. But now with energy, if you look at crude oil, it seems like it's pushing out of a long-term triangle formation. It might be worth revisiting some of those stocks. Even some of the materials stocks, copper started to show some signs of downside exhaustion too.
And just the NASDAQ just blows me. Do you remember when we built?
Yes,
we built
the new building in Inglewood Cliffs.
We spent lots
from
of money
Fort
on that.
Lee, and it was supposed to be the NASDAQ.
We called it the NASDAQ. We called it the NASDAQ 5000 building because we were at 3,000 or 2,500 on the NASDAQ, and like we built it at the top, And it was the Nasdaq.
Look at the
The
Dow.
Nasdaq is at 18. The Nasdaq's at 18,000.
Isn't that wild? Yeah, it's really remarkable. We can arrive at, from these flag patterns, pretty impressive upside targets. That all said, for the S&P 500, I don't remember the number for the Nasdaq, but it's about 57, 55. Which, listen, we want to be on the right side of these trends, whether it's narrow or not, and the market is telling us it can still go higher.
Yeah, and the pandemic wasn't that long ago. I still got masks lying around, like in my glove
I find
box
some
and
sometimes
stuff.
too.
Time to toss.
I found an old bag that had them. I was like, what?
The S&P, I still got my tests. The S&P was 2,300.
Isn't that wild?
2,300.
It feels like
And hell was
history.
coming, according to some people.
All right, shout out to CNBC television for that. Sorry, my kids are both having meltdowns as we speak. So let's move on to the videos. We don't have too much more news, but I wanted to watch this. Will the stock market crash with Anthony Pompliano? He actually, he's a great channel. If you guys don't know who he is, links in the description below. Go check him out. Hit that like button, guys. Appreciate you for hanging out. Let's listen to this, and I will be right back.
What's up, guys? Bang, bang. Today is a special episode. I've got Phil Rosen, the co-founder of Opening Bell Daily, here with
I'm actually going to bump this up a little bit.
me. We talk about the U.S. economy. We talk about whether the stock market is going to crash. We talk about home affordability. And at the very end of this, I tell you, if I was president for a day, what I would do to try to help solve home affordability so that people can chase the American dream. Today's conversation is a lot of fun. I learned something from Phil. Hopefully you guys learned something from both of us. Here is my episode with Phil Rosen.
Pomp, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's great to be back. The big news today on Wall Street was JP Morgan's top strategist, Marko Klanovic, they announced that he's leaving. I don't know if he's leaving or they're letting him go, but he was the most bearish guy on Wall Street. I think he had the S&P 500 outlook at 4,200, and right now it's at 5,500. So I wanted to, we could start there. What is your take on how stocks are going to perform for the rest of the year, given that they're just ripping?
Yeah. Maybe the stock market's going up so high that the bears are quitting.
Yep.
Is one way to look at it. But what I think is probably more likely, the stock market is a byproduct of what's happening in the economy, not so much that the stock market drives what happens in the economy. And I think that's a really important distinction because monetary policy obviously has been, kind of very volatile across the U.S. Kind of central banker, world. But also what we have seen is we have seen a brand new set of businesses that have taken off as well. So if you start to unpack some of the data, right, we have this very kind of multi-outcome situation. So on one hand, you have the S&P continues to hit all-time highs. You have the highest concentration of the top 5 stocks. It's now like 25, 26%, which never happened before in history. You also see incredible outperformance for the tech sector specifically. The S&P 500 tech sector is compounding over the last 5 years at over 25%, almost 26% annualized. And so when you look at that, you say, wait a second, like the public market tech companies are outperforming the average private market venture capital funds. And so naturally, you're going to get these incredible numbers. Now, you can look at that and say, well, if it went up 25, 26% every year for the last 5 years on average, does that mean it's going to keep happening? Like, is the momentum in play? And you and I have talked about before, buying stocks at all-time highs in kind of an index usually is a pretty good move based on the historical data for the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, and 3 year. But also, like, are there going to be corrections, right? Like stocks just don't go up forever without kind of dips or corrections along the way. And so I think that's what people are trying to figure out. But, what do you think, right? You spend a lot of time all day analyzing this stuff. Like, what are your thoughts?
So everyone I'm talking to, all the Wall Street strategists, bankers, they're pretty bullish for the rest of the year. And, they're looking at very low VIX right now. The stock market just had its best 6 months in an election year, I think in 50 years, something like that. And there's a ton of money in money market funds. And that's I think it's like $6 trillion right now. And a lot of these guys are telling me that could go into equities whenever the time comes in the next few months. I think this morning's news with the JP Morgan strategist, it's probably a good sign for the bulls because it's the final bear capitulating, and it's getting harder and harder to be bearish. Mm-hmm. And even especially with the election coming up, the second half of an election year is better, I think, and we've already had 15% gain in the S&P 500. But something I want to drill in on a bit, the concentration of gains has been very tech heavy. And do you see any risks of maybe a bubble popping, or are there any parallels to the dot-com era?
Well, I think the dot-com bubble was a classic, kind of necessity for the development of a technology. You need a bunch of people to kind of see a couple of different either companies, products, pieces of technology, and they say, oh, wait a second, I can peek around the corner. This is going to be massive. And then what ends up happening is everyone pulls out their checkbook and everyone just starts putting money everywhere. The venture capital start writing checks. The public market starts allocating capital. Everyone is so excited about the promise of the technology. Well, if you go back to 99, 2000, 2001, those promises actually came true now. Like the internet is awesome, right? Yep. It just took 15, 20 years for it to play out. And so the capital, the excitement, the hype got ahead of what actually was true in 99, 2000, 2001. And so you needed the correction. You needed to kind of go sideways for a while. And then, okay, now the technology is caught up. What I think is happening now is there's a bifurcation in technology. There's AI stocks, and then there are technology companies. The technology companies, for example, let's say something like Facebook, right? Yeah, sure, Facebook is trying to figure out AI stuff as well, but like Facebook's a real company, right? There is not a lot of downside for a company that is producing as much revenue and cash as that business is. And so can the stock go down? Sure, but it's not like it's going to drop 50+% and not get immediately bid back up, right? And so you can go through a number of these companies, Google, Amazon, et cetera. There's a lot of opportunity, I think, for people to make the argument. These are real companies with real, financials that are continuing to improve, et cetera. Now, those technology stocks, although there is some overlap, are different than many of these stocks that are benefiting from kind of AI. So NVIDIA being, obviously the prime example, but I think there's a couple of others as well. And in that situation, I think people are saying to themselves, AI is going to be huge. I can peek around the corner. The question is it right now? Or will we see some deflation in the excitement there because people realize, hey, it's actually gonna be like 10 years from now until we can do this. And, if you start to unpack this, like OpenAI and ChatGPT, it's technically a private market, business or nonprofit, whatever they're calling it now. But it was a, kind of phenomenon globally that opened everyone's eyes. Like that was the moment everyone peeked around the corner. And so NVIDIA is benefiting right now from tons of excitement, tons of people saying, hey, I need compute, I need chips, I need all this stuff. The question is not only can NVIDIA continue to dominate because they need to service their customers. That's like a self-inflicted wound thing, right? Either the customers all go away or NVIDIA makes a mistake. I don't think a lot of these customers are going to go away because the customers aren't only going to NVIDIA. They're also trying to build their own data centers, their own technologies. You're seeing competition show up, which I actually think is something that becomes pretty interesting. And so to your question about like, is there downside? There's always potential downside, right? But that money that's sitting in the money market funds, like they're chasing yield. When that yield starts to drop because we cut interest rates, like that cash is not just going to sit there and earn nothing. And so it's likely to go back into the equity markets, which will serve as this kind of tailwind. And so I tend to be a much bigger future bull, but I'm also not a trader. I don't care what happens in the next 3 months or 6 months. What I care about is over the next 5 years, will stocks be higher or lower? It's really, really hard right now to make an argument that they're not going to be higher 5 years from now than they are today.
Is there any risk of the enthusiasm for AI running out in the near term?
I think that you already see some portion of the population have less excitement today than they did previously. For example, when ChatGPT came out, it's all you heard about. Everyone was using it every day, et cetera. People outside of a work environment, I don't know how many people are still using it. So like, what is the retention number there? Now, they've driven billions of dollars of revenue. So obviously there's some good retention that's happening. But if you knew what that retention number was, that would be an interesting data point. A second thing is there's kind of like, I think of it as like the nerd segment of AI. And then there's the like consumer segment. The nerd segment is, you start getting into, I was listening to an interview with Mark Zuckerberg recently, and he was talking about there's companies like OpenAI and a few others that are building kind of one LLM to service everybody. What Facebook believes is that you're actually going to have different models for different use cases. So they're creating a creator model, and that creator model is specifically tuned to help people who want to create content. It's not going to be good at doing anything else, right? And so you go to the parallels of like maybe the Bitcoin world. There used to be people who mined Bitcoin on their laptop. Now there is something called an ASIC, an application-specific integrated circuit, right? Whose specific job is to mine Bitcoin and do nothing else. And so this kind of push and pull between specialization versus generalization is already creating, fractionalization of the nerd segment. They're in, right? It's kind of like the hardcore crypto people. They're in crypto. These people are in AI. The consumer, I think, likes the idea. What they're trying to figure out is like, how does it improve my life? I don't care about the tech. I actually couldn't tell you a single thing about the model or the chip or this or that. What I want to know is when I go to Google now and I Google something, I see Google is using AI at the top. Are the answers right? Like that's where the excitement will end up coming. And so I think that is still a question mark. But the good news for the NVIDIAs of the world, et cetera, they don't need the consumer, right? What they actually need is they need their customers, which are other businesses, other model providers, et cetera, to keep showing up. But I don't like you use AI every day. I see an opening bell to create the artwork. And so, what has your experience been? And like, how excited are you? Are you more or less excited than you were when this stuff first came out?
I think it's become such an integral part of my day that it's actually not exciting now. I use it to generate images, and sometimes I use it to generate ideas for things to write about. I don't use it to write
How
things.
many of you guys actually use AI on a like consistent basis? Just throw it in the chat if you do. Just put a 1 in the chat if you do, and ignore it if you don't.
Things, but it's pretty good at ideation. And but I'm also, as you know, as a reporter, I think that's a very specific trade to be using a large language model. But I know very few people that use it on a regular basis, which is why I think the enthusiasm is kind of tapering out. But I don't know if that's been reflected in the market yet, because yeah, all these tech stocks are still going a lot higher.
Today's episode.
Like they say that you know, AI is going to take your job, and it's not really AI. It's going to be the people that know how to use AI that are going to be taking your jobs, right? Geek of all trades, I know you use it every single day, so that's awesome that you could use it actually at your, you know, your job for your benefit, right? Which is awesome. Yeah, I mean, I wish like I had a use case for it every day, but I don't. But ChatGPT is great, and they have like, if you pay for it, they have like a whole bunch of different things like Dolly, that's what you call it. Like that's the image software that I use to get like the Bitcoin stuff at the beginning of my streams, right? All my thumbnails. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of different things. They have like video summarizers. They have all these different kinds of ChatGPTs within ChatGPT, right? And it's kind of strange, but AI does all of it. It's crazy.
People seem to not really be talking
Is it
so
called plugins? Is that what it's called? Sure.
much about is if
We'll go
the
with
AI
that.
promise is real and these companies are actually able to produce as much productivity as they claim, there should be a lift in GDP. And if we get a lift in GDP, then we should actually have a bunch of advantages where our undisciplined monetary policy mistakes could be maybe not resolved, but the blow could be lessened. And so if you think about one of the most important metrics in the American economy is debt to GDP. There's two numbers, right? We know debt's going to keep going up because you have politicians who are going to make that decision and they're not going to stop. But the GDP number, like the AI world, may actually be a huge boom there. And so could you have politicians continuing to lay debt onto the economy? And maybe you can't drop debt to GDP, but could you keep it flat? Right? Because you have this productivity boom. And so I don't know what the answer is, right? I think that there's an increasing chance that that is likely. And those are the things maybe that are the most interesting to me, because what it does is it's not just about a single company getting a productivity boost or saving costs and driving more profit, which is powerful, but it's an economy-wide thing where actually the private market may take into their hands, we have to create a solution to this problem because the politicians are drunk and they're not going to stop spending.
Do you see the political,
Because the politicians are drunk and they're not going to stop spending.
well, the next few months of politics having a big
Might
swing
not
on the
be
market?
wrong.
Are you not entertained? I didn't see the numbers for the debate. I got to imagine the debate was very popular. There were a lot of people who were watching. Look, it's this very weird thing where let's talk about the national debt, right? Republicans and Democrats all contribute to the national debt. And so each side likes to blame the other side. Oh, we don't, we're much more fiscally conservative, but look at these people, they're horrible, right? If you go back and you look, Clinton, Bush, Obama, right? Trump, Biden, all of them. They all contributed to the national debt. It's a structural issue. They have to do it or they risk pushing the economy into a bad situation. So I think that you can kind of take away the red versus blue when it comes to that. Now, if you go and you look at the stock market, I think that the number I saw was the stock market's up over 200% since 2016 election. 200%, right? For an economy and a stock market that historically goes up at 8% a year, that's pretty good. And what you can actually see is that it went up under Trump and it went up under Biden. And so red versus blue, two people who obviously, have huge disagreements about, according to the debate, who's the best president ever, who's got a better golf swing, all these different things that they were, debating. But the stock market kept ripping. And I think
That was the most ridiculous thing ever, by the way. Did you guys hear that? They started talking about the golf swings.
lot of it is people in the short term in the stock market care who the president is. But what we find out over and over again is that the United States is very unique in that the president has power, but does not have enough power to have some massive impact. And I like, I think it was Supreme Court Justice Anthony Scalia, I think is the one who was asked one time, explain the political process in the United States. And he goes, the one great attribute of the United States and no one ever credits the United States with is deadlock. The way that the system is built with three branches of the government and this constant, check and balance, it's very hard to get things done. And he goes, and you all think that's a bad thing. It's actually one of the greatest parts of America is because it dampens volatility in either direction. So it's unlikely that Trump or Biden is going to do something that is so egregious that the stock market is going to, go down 30, 40%. it's also unlikely that either one of them is going to do something where it is going to go up 50%, right? And so if you look like the 25% annualized return for the S&P tech sector, some of that was under Trump, some of that was under Biden. And so it's just this element of like politics is a great intellectual exercise, but for your investment portfolio, not taxes, not wage growth, but just your investment portfolio, both of them over the last 8 years have been great. And so that violates a lot of narratives. And so what I think ends up occurring is people lump in everything else, wage growth, taxes, inflation, et cetera. And that's actually a holistic evaluation. But if you just look at the portfolios, you have done well under both of those two presidents. And so it pulls into question, like maybe it's not the presidents, maybe it's actually just an economy and a structure and like, you know, America's awesome and, you know, stocks are gonna keep going up.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just buying S&P 500 every month for for years on end, I think it's pretty agnostic to who's in the White House. What are some of the conversations you're having with other investors, like as far as how, maybe how they're positioning for the election or for the rest of the year, or whether they're trying to account for any risks?
I don't think that there is consensus. So maybe I'll just throw out a couple of anecdotal points. I have a friend who has told me multiple times he's considering selling all of his crypto on election day. And I asked him why. And he said that is potentially one of the tops of a crypto market. He goes, depending on who gets elected. Now, again, does it actually depend on who gets elected or not? Unclear. But one thought process, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I think it's an interesting data point. I think that there are a whole nother group of people who, with these prediction markets, there is Kaleshi, there is Polymarket, there's a couple of these. And people are saying, well, actually, why am I going to position my investment portfolio, which is really just an indirect way to try to take a bet on this election? Instead, I can go to a prediction market and I can just bet on the election, right? I can isolate the outcome that I want to bet on and expose myself to financially. So I think that's an interesting development. Those, were kind of sort of around, but not in the way that they are today. In the last couple elections. And then I think that there are a lot of people, and you and I have been talking about this recently, home ownership is really bad, right? Like in terms of the ability for people to afford a home. A lot of them will yell and scream about the political candidate they disagree with as like they're the cause. But
you know what? I heard something interesting about homes actually. And BlackRock investing in single family homes, which is driving the price up where people can't afford them, right? I know the housing market is just absolutely terrible for people trying to afford anything. I don't know how kids are going to do it, to be honest, when they grow up. I was thinking about that the other day, actually, about my niece. I'm like, man, when you go to have to buy a house, like how the hell are you even going to do it? But there was this guy who was debating on like college campus. I don't remember his name. He's like a big guy, though, big YouTube dude. And he was saying something about the way we could solve the housing crisis is if companies bigger than $500 billion weren't allowed to invest into single family homes anymore. And that would be an amazing, like, I guess, feat to push past, right? To like make sure they can't do that. It's kind of crazy. I saw that. Yeah, Geek of All Trades, right? He's 100% right on it. It makes total sense. Like if they're not allowed to invest into single family homes, like that would literally help out everybody.
Yeah, I think it's a structural thing. And if you think of the average American, your home makes up the majority of their net worth. And so if they are not able to buy a home, then they either have to take what money they have remaining and go put it into the stock market, in kind of other investable assets, or they sit in cash. And so in a weird way, home affordability may have one of the biggest impacts on investment portfolios, even though it's your primary home. It still is the bulk of the average American's net worth. And so it is unclear to me that either candidate has an ability to get home affordability to a better place, because I don't think that it is something that policy can necessarily drive. It is something that supply demand and the previous inflation shock has created. And you can blame one, both, whatever you want. But in terms of moving forward, you get to be president for the day. How do you make homes more affordable? Maybe the only argument that I might say, okay, that's got a lot of, kind of weight to it, is like deregulate the housing market and allow people to go build housing. But if you actually look at a lot of that regulation, that's not national regulation. It's local zoning and processes, et cetera. And so, it's not a sexy headline, but like maybe for home affordability in your area, your local city council or your like local representative matters way more than who the president is. And people don't like that because they're like, oh, my city council's like full of, idiots, or my city council's full of geniuses, right? Like depending on which side you're on. So it just makes it much harder. What do you think the president should do? Like
as far as housing?
Well, just you got to be president for the day, right? And you've got to kind of get the U.S. economy in a better place. Are there certain like levers that you think pulling would be effective?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I was president, I think it would be super impossible to attack the debt. So I'd probably maybe ignore it for the whole, at least for the day, if not the, the term. Yeah, deregulating housing, that's an interesting one. I don't know enough about it to say how I would do it or if I would do it. Yeah, certainly I think regulation generally, maybe we've gone a bit overboard as far as what's possible and what is, yeah, maybe that's the wrong, might be the wrong guy to ask that question actually. Do you have a 1 day outline of what you would do?
I don't think anything can get done in 1 day, but I do think there's some like important decisions that the president has to make. I do believe that there is stuff that can be done around housing, and again, from a national standpoint, it is much harder than at the local level. But I think that just encouraging more investment there. We live in a world where boldness and ambition is actually discouraged for our political leaders. And so an example would be, imagine a president saying, hey, for the next 12 months, we are going to have a housing boom. And the way we're going to have a housing boom is that we are going to do A, B, C, and D things to empower every home builder in America. We need to build 1 million houses, right? It's estimated that we probably have a deficiency of at least a couple 100,000, if not a couple million. But as a country, we are going to set a goal to build 1 million houses in 12 months. You call every home builder in America to the White House and you say, most countries look at the men and women in uniform that they are willing to send to defend their freedoms as this like national service. Right now in this room, you home builders, we're going to rely on you because we have millions of Americans who can't afford a home. And it's a supply-demand imbalance. And so what we are going to do is you're going to tell us what you need. And for 12 months, you're going to build as many homes as you possibly can. And you're going to build 50,000 homes. You're going to build 200,000 homes. And you just go through the line. And you say, I'm going to hold you guys accountable to doing this. If you guys do this, the government will give you a financial bonus. You think we'll build 1 million homes? We'll have 1 million homes in 9 months instead of 12, right? But that is much more the way a corporation would work than a government. And so, that's just not the mood, the approach, all this stuff. But I think that it shows there is a potential solution. It just takes that boldness, that ambition, et cetera, to go do it and to make a big deal about it, right? We have, we give out presidential medals of freedom, again, for people, national service, all this kind of stuff. Give one to the home builder that builds the most homes over the next 12 months, right? Make them a national hero. Because right now, one of the biggest problems facing America is home unaffordability. So if somebody went and put 100,000 people who didn't have a home off the street, we would say that's an amazing person. Look how philanthropic they are, etc. It's not exactly the same, but man, if we were able to celebrate one or many of the people who were able to solve this problem and treat them the way that we would treat an astronaut or treat a scientist with a big breakthrough or whatever, it would inspire more people to say, well, what other big problems are there in our society? Let's go try to do that. And so I just think that it's really hard to see a politician doing that in today's day and age, right? Because they just get, attacked the second that they say anything. But that's the type of stuff I think if you're the president, maybe not for a day, but for a month, you do that type of stuff. And I think that there's a ton of benefits that actually would start showing up in economic data, pretty quickly.
Sounds like the only things that would work would be breaking all the red tape around being a president. I think we covered a lot of stuff. And thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Interesting. Well, that was a pretty interesting discussion, I would like to say. The whole the housing thing's kind of crazy, to be honest. All right, we're gonna get into the recap segment of things. We're gonna go raid Miss Randy Hipper. She actually is in her brand new place today, streaming for the first time from there. So she's going live. Actually, she's probably already live right now. We're actually 7 minutes past. But just to recap real quick, anybody just joining, Bitcoin $56,958.
Bruh.
Terrible. We got Ethereum at $3,024. Guys, listen, to be honest, I'm just kidding on the terrible thing, right? We are still up like 40% over the year, right? Or actually, are we still 50% actually? Where were we at? I don't even know. We were definitely well under 30, right? Less than a year ago. So this is still decent, guys. If we break I guess the lady was saying 51,000 support, then who the hell knows? But we still have a upward trend line around 51,000. So we'll see what happens. What state did they move to? I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. I'm not sure where she moved, but I'm sure she'll tell you guys in the chat. Again, Ethereum at 3,025. We got Solana at 140 bucks. ADA's 37 cents. XRP at 43 cents if anybody cares about that. LTC, Caspa, I think these two are great buys. ADA should be a great buy too. LTC's at 65 bucks. Caspa's at 16 cents. Everything else is just kind of floating sideways, but real quick, flashbang, fear and greed index is at a 28. When there's blood in the streets, that's time to buy. So you guys, listen, do what you want, but stay frosty. You guys got to make sure that you're buying when people, or be greedy when people are fearful, and be fearful when people are greedy. It's the best line from Warren Buffett ever. Hopefully you guys have a great, fantastic day. I appreciate you hanging out with me on the daily grind. I'm going to try to be back tomorrow. Both my kids are sick right now, so who knows what's happening upstairs. But you guys have a great, happy Monday. Let's go raid Miss Randy Hipper. Say hello to her. If you guys can't stay, at least swing by and just hit the like button for her. That would be great. And if you could, hit the like button on the way out. Appreciate you all. Have a good day, and peace out.
Fuck to it.